Well, the summer holidays are over and you might have a busy weekend ahead, packing the school bag, laminating books,
Yeah, all
that
that
usual
stuff.
sort of thing, getting
Yeah.
some last minute stationery perhaps. In case you didn't know, the kids are heading back to school. Yay for some parents. And it can be a shock to the system for the kids, though, after a decent break where they've had more of a relaxed routine and maybe more screen time than they're used to.
Yeah, indeed, a shock to the system. So if you're a parent, how does your child feel about going back? If they're a bit nervous, it's normal. And Dr. Samantha Vulchek, childhood education expert from RMIT University, joins us now with some tips to help with that transition. Good morning to you, Samantha. I guess the first thing I feel we need to discuss here is the fact that it is completely normal, isn't it? It's normal for kids to feel that way. When I look back at around this time when I was a kid, I certainly felt that nervousness and that anxiety.
Oh, good morning. And that's definitely true. The nerves are our body's natural way of helping us prepare for a change in different situations. So for a child feeling anxious going into school, that's what we might be expecting. So it's really important that we acknowledge those feelings and look at how we can best support them.
Okay, so in terms of how we can best support them, what can parents do to help assist with that transition?
The first thing is to validate those feelings. It's really easy for us to go, oh, but remember you felt that way last year and everything worked out well. Instead of thinking it through it that way, it's going, okay, well, what are the root of those concerns? And is it anxiousness about starting in a new classroom with different friends? Is it a new teacher or perhaps a new school altogether? So having a really general conversation with your child to sort of think through all of those different parts of the school day that they're concerned about going back to, and how can you best support them in starting school in the most successful way.
Yeah, and I imagine a casual conversation, right? Don't make it this big event where you sit down with them at the dinner table. Ask them in a casual way on a drive somewhere, just to make it, I guess, a little bit less formal, more conversational.
That's exactly it. So speak to them like you would about anything else going on in the day. That might be while you're driving to the supermarket, it might be on a nightly walk, or while you're going to a playground. Have that opportunity for them to open up and feel really safe, and as though this isn't something that you're actually emphasising even further that will promote potentially them feeling even more anxious. But instead, just build this into your day and start thinking through some of the positives that they can look forward to in starting school in the following weeks.
You imagined, you brought up a few scenarios there a moment ago, Samantha. So let's look at one. Let's say a child is worried about who their new teacher might be, for example. How would a parent respond to those concerns? Because I imagine it would be very easy, hypothetically, to just dismiss it and go, oh, don't worry, it'll be fine. But you're saying that's not really the way you go about it.
That's exactly it. And so sometimes, as a parent, the best way that you can actually support your child is drawing on your own experiences. You might like to talk about how you and in your own childhood schooling days that you were anxious about certain teachers coming into school and how then you navigated those years. You can also talk about your real life experiences now. For some adults returning to work this year, it meant a new manager or a new team, and talk through how you actually put in strategies in place to give people a chance and how that's turned out for you so far.
Yeah, it's true. That anxiety and nervousness are not limited to kids in a classroom. I think it's important to note. Fowles mentioned a moment ago the idea that perhaps during holidays there might be a few more screens, that sort of thing. Routine is a big thing, isn't it? Is it important to get back into that routine before the first day back at school?
Most definitely, because your child might be nervous about the actual school day and what that might look like, but trying to set them up for success by getting them used to even those little things like waking up at a particular time, having breakfast in a way that you would before school days, thinking it through from those angles as well will help at least alleviate any of those, back to school stresses that can occur through those really big changes that happen in those first couple of days. So we've got, this weekend coming up where you have an opportunity to wake up potentially that little bit earlier, but get those routines in place now.
And just before I let you go, generally, I imagine after a few days at school, they're back with their mates and everything's back to normal. But seriously, I mean, what if that's not the case and that struggle continues? What should parents do?
Yeah, if you find that your child's anxiousness and nerves are continuing into the first couple of weeks at school, it's important to speak to their teacher, have a think about what's actually happening in the school environment and are there ways to alleviate those concerns. If they still persist, it's really important to talk to your medical team, whether that be your GP or paediatrician.